This November, the United States of America will be having their next presidential elections. And I thought, as a channel that looks at Asian culture through Western eyes, I thought it'd be interesting to see what the last 4 years was like for Donald Trump, especially how his relationship has been with Asia in those 4 years. So this is going to be a bit of a different video to what we usually do, but still a video essay. It's just that it's not going to be about a specific Asian culture or Asian country, just something I thought would be an interesting analysis. It's still Western culture meeting Asian culture, so I feel like that's appropriate for our channel. But before I go on, with this video, I would like to say that I'm going to be as neutral as possible and not show whether we are for or against Trump. I'll do my best to state the facts and what the opinions have been for both sides of Donald Trump, as he has been quite a polarized president in his last 4 years.
I think it's a disgrace that information that was false and fake and never happened got released to the public.
But if I do come across showing support for or against Trump, it's purely by accident, or I just did not interpret it that way when I was recording this or writing this. So again, just pure coincidental accident. Not trying to show any support for any candidate here, and I don't really have an idea or an opinion of who's going to win this November. But I have been loving the memes that are coming out of all of this.
We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay, so for this video, I'm going to look at 4 things. The first thing we'll look at is just a general overview of how Trump has been towards Asia in his last 4 years. And then I'll look at 3 specific countries. The first one will be, of course, the North Korea fiasco and his relationship with Kim Jong-un. The second one is a bit of a curveball. I'll be looking at his relationship with India. So the reason I'm doing this, and I know I'm shoehorning this, but this channel, Waggish Wonderland, is all about Western eyes on Asian culture. And I just feel like we've been focusing a lot on East Asian and Southeast Asian cultures. Why don't we mix it up? The South Asian cultures are completely different, and I thought this might be the first good gateway country, India, but in a video about Trump, oh boy. Well, anyway, there's loads of other things between Trump and India as well, and it does tie in very well with our third country that we're looking at, which is China. Which I'm sure some of you have already guessed. Trump and China have had a very interesting relationship these last 4 years, and China themselves have been under a lot of scrutiny. What they've done in the mainland, their impact to other countries around them, and their impact across the world. You know, that thing that's making you stay inside, having to watch this video because there's nothing else to do, and when you do go outside, you have to stay 20 meters away from someone because you might catch something, and when you meet someone you wanted to meet, you can't even touch them. You have to touch your elbows to show appreciation that you're meeting them, and then when you come home, you have to wash your hands for like 20 seconds and say to yourself happy birthday twice, making you look like a maniac while you're washing and putting soap over your hands, and yeah, okay, sorry. It's just that lockdown has made me very bored and directionless in these last few months. Although there is a light, we made more videos for this channel than we ever anticipated. So let's carry on with that and start with the very first topic for this video, where we look at how Donald Trump has been with these Asian countries in general in his last 4 years as President of the United States. When it comes to Trump and Asian countries in general, it has been pretty sound. I mean, there isn't or hasn't been much controversies or any new amazing alliances apart from the 3 that I'll talk about in this video. In general, most of the time he would talk to other countries is for a new trade deal, and really he hasn't really talked to many countries in saying that. Some of them have been very low key or just neutral relationships with these countries. For example, one of them is a trade deal he made with Japan, which oddly enough Japan was okay with this trade deal, even though they're gaining absolutely nothing with the deal, whereas US were gaining the full benefits. He claims to have a good working relationship with Pakistan, being pretty low-key with Singapore, Malaysia and all the other countries in that region, had said some good things about Bangladesh and other South Asian countries. But I really thought this was worth mentioning. Many of these Asian countries have grown rapidly in terms of the economy and living standards, and usually when this happens, there will be some involvement with the American government. And when I mean involvement, there'll be things like trade deals, information deals, diplomatic relations, stuff like that to help each other's people and each other's economy. But when I was doing my research for this video, I couldn't find anything really worth noting, apart from the trade arms deals, but hey, let's not go there. But other than that, Trump has been pleasant. He says some countries are great, their people are doing great, he has love for their countries. You know, the usual spiel he puts out. But for me, it was just really interesting. An American president making really good relationships with no intention behind it? Let's find out later on, shall we? So, that's Trump and Asian countries in general. And I guess we can move to our first country case study, the North Korean fiasco, as I like to call it. Oh, Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. Looking back on this was pretty hilarious, but at the time, things were really tense. Within the first year of Trump's presidency, North Korea provided his first big international test. Reports were coming in that our boy Kim was playing around with some crazy-ass nuclear weapons. South Korea were feeling a little stressed, and the United States were also on high alert. None more so than Trump. Trump and Twitter has been interesting and entertaining, let's just say, over these last 4 years, especially at this time, where he wrote his tweets about how he's ready to destroy our favorite rocket man with a big, shiny red button in the White House. People were on the edge, or at least mainstream media made it seem like we were all on the edge, so then we all became on the edge. Before Trump even became president, people were worried that he was going to start World War III, and it looks like the prophecy was about to come true. Analysts, and I want to emphasize the quotation marks here because I don't actually know what kind of analysts these people are. They were saying that should Trump attack North Korea, then China would get involved and a whole lot of other shit would start kicking off, thus World War III. And things were getting tense. Trump kept warning Kimmy to stop, but Kim wasn't stopping anytime soon. It was like a dad telling his 5-year-old son to stop playing around and the son just laughs back and carries on doing what the dad wants them to stop doing. It was actually getting a bit weird. And so here we go. Trump was tired of talking and was ready to start walking, ready to make some moves, ready to do some action. The whole world was on the edge. Europe was about to get involved. Was the UK going to get involved? Did I have to listen to the army? Oh shit. And so, Trump decided to... Wait, what? Hold up. Trump decided to meet up and have a chat with Kim. Huh? Whoa, hold up. This wasn't part of the script. The whole world became really confused. An American president that decided to not attack a dictator that wasn't listening to him? It was a surprise to us all, and you can't blame us for being surprised. I mean, you just need to look at the history of American presidents and dictators. It doesn't always go down so well. And with Trump presenting this image of being so erratic, volatile, and no-filtered, who knew what he was going to do? People were ready for nuclear war. I guess Trump decided to flip the script. Trump had asked Kimmy to come meet with him in a neutral place, Singapore. So we went from possibly this to now this. And yeah, they met. They chatted about nothing, I guess, and that was the end of that. What made this monumental is that I think this is the first time a US president has actually gone and talked with the Korean dictator. Also, the US and North Korea are actually at war with each other. They have been for the last 7 decades. They're just currently at a ceasefire. So having meeting the enemy for both of these countries has had a really strong effect and moment for them. Now, it didn't end the North Korea-South Korea divide, and it didn't end the war between North Korea and America. And since they've been back, there's still been some talking. However, Kimmy has been playing with his toys again. But I don't know, I feel personally that there's a nice daddy-son relationship between these two. And we avoided another war, potentially a world war. So, it's kind of a win-win, even though North Korea is still testing nuclear weapons. But at least I didn't have to listen to the army. Trump has made a lot of strides with India in the last 4 years. Compared to North Korea, for example, his relationship with India has generally been a positive one that has helped US businesses massively. The current Prime Minister of India, Modi, has really praised Trump and loved his MAGA ways. He even said the leadership of President Trump has served humanity and even bear hugged the man. Now, Trump has definitely shown his respect and praise to Modi, but I don't think the level of affection is exactly equal. But they do say, in every relationship, there is always one person who loves the other person more. But Trump has come out saying that the relationship between India and the US is stronger than ever, calling Modi recently a great leader and a loyal friend. The US and Trump consider India as a major defense partner, and the US being India's biggest trading partner. And even though India decided to buy Russian air defenses, which was a big no-no with the US administration, by the way, who would have loved to see that convo between a Russian and an Indian negotiator going down, selling arms to each other? Is it just me? Probably just me. Sorry. Trump's recent visit to India just early this year show there isn't that much hard feelings. And this has been great for American businesses and the American economy. Companies such as Netflix and YouTube seamlessly opened new offices in India and garnered great revenue as a result. With India growing so fast as it is and quickly becoming to become an economic powerhouse in the international community, Trump made a masterstroke by creating a great relationship on the off-go. Trump wanted to show how he's the king of tariffs, trying to make great trade deals with India, and Modi wanted to show the Indian people how much of a good negotiator and ambassador he is for India, considering Modi was a bit under the spotlight with some internal dealings in India and Kashmir. And in addition, India bought $3 billion worth of military equipment from America. And also thanks to Trump, they made a deal with ExxonMobil, agreeing to import a large amount of liquefied natural gas. Trump has also offered to be the mediator between Pakistan and India over the regional issue of Kashmir. So, looking back on it, with all the Asian countries, North Korea and India, Trump either has made neutral relationships or even some good relationships with these Asian countries. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago of this recording, Trump even made a $7 billion deal with Taiwan. And it makes us wonder, is this all Trump just trying to be a great US ambassador, or is there something larger at play? And that's where we'll now go and look at our third Asian country. China in the last 2 to 3 years has been under much scrutiny from the international community. There is, of course, this current crazy world we live in. Can't say because YouTube can take down your video if you even mention it apparently, but I think we all know what I'm referring to.
Using this.
Because it comes from China.
Racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China.
In regards to this, Trump has suggested that China has covered up their awareness of it and has colluded with the World Health Organization on the cover-up. And the World Health Organization hasn't helped themselves by not answering the questions from the media, especially about the virus, their relationship with China, and the relationship with countries related to China, such as Taiwan.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
Trump has not been shy of accusing China of a lot of shady business, cover-ups, and blaming them for the current situation that we're all living in. And his opinion of China has accumulated over the last couple of years due to their actions. For example, one of the big things that got a lot of headlines recently was China's treatment to the Uyghur people and other ethnic minority groups. There have been claims with video evidence of detention camps for Uyghur Muslims and China denying their basic human rights.
I cannot see, this video. This is not the first time you show me. I still remember last year you show me what is happening in Xinjiang.
In Xinjiang, exactly.
But let me tell you this. Xinjiang, have you been to Xinjiang yourself?
No, I never have.
You know, Xinjiang is regarded as the most beautiful place in Xinjiang. There's a Chinese saying, you do not know how big China is.
Ambassador, that is not beautiful coverage, however, is it?
There's also been articles and publications about how China is removing native languages and making people of different ethnic minorities speak Mandarin as a compulsory language in schools. There's also been a lot of hostility towards a number of their neighbours, with the big one being against India over the borders between the two nations. There has already been a lot of hostility and fighting between the two countries, and should these two countries go into war with each other, the impact will be detrimental for the entire continent of Asia. India has also banned a ton of Chinese apps and businesses as an economic retaliation to China, causing more Chinese companies to suffer as India is one of their biggest markets. And as of recent, India and China have been arming up for any potential war to break out. We should also not forget Hong Kong. Hong Kong and China have an agreement of a one country, two system setup, with China being more of a communist setup, while Hong Kong emulated that of a Western capitalist society. However, new changes to the Hong Kong law enforced by China has made it seem that this agreement has become eroded. It's led to a lot of civil unrest in Hong Kong, with protests, civilians clashing with the police, and nearly breaking out into a civil war. The Hong Kong citizens are adamant of not trying to be under the Chinese Communist Party rule, and they want to maintain their special status. However, these new laws that are coming in tend to give China more power over Hong Kong than what was initially agreed. Many people believed it's because China wanted to enjoy Hong Kong's economic advantages. Hong Kong is considered as one of the most prosperous countries in Asia, making a considerable amount of capital for a country its size. Also, for Chinese companies to raise money and expand overseas, they will need foreign investment outside of mainland China. For now, Hong Kong is the best way for Chinese companies to access that kind of financial capital. The US responded to China's actions with Hong Kong by removing Hong Kong's special autonomous state and declaring it as part of mainland China, and therefore declaring that there is one state, one system. Adding on to this, a couple of years before, Trump started a trade war with China, which imposed heavy taxes for goods coming from China to the US. This shook the Chinese economy. Many American businesses started to stop doing trade with Chinese businesses, and American businesses that had offices in China would leave China and find another Asian country to reach the Asian market. President Xi and President Trump have certainly not held back when it comes to talking about each other and about America and China.
We have waged a fierce battle against the invisible enemy, the China virus, which has claimed countless lives in 188 countries. We must hold accountable the nation which unleashed this plague onto the world, China. In the earliest days of the virus, China locked down travel domestically while allowing flights to leave China and infect the world.
Many analysts believe that we are now in a Cold War between the US and China, liking the similarities of what's happening now to the events of the 80s between the US and Russia. There's also the fear and interest of how other Asian countries are going to react in the next 4 years, how India and China's relationship carries on from here, what happens to Hong Kong and Taiwan, and the possibility of an Asian NATO being formed with an alliance between America, Japan, Australia, and India. So we come to the end of our video of how Trump has been with Asian countries in the last 4 years, and looking back on it, it's been really interesting on the alliances that he has made and all the challenges that he has faced. Whether they've been positive or negative, only time will tell, but based on his actions in the last 4 years, it will be interesting to see where Donald Trump goes from here with Asian countries, should he win the election again this November. For whoever wins, Trump or Biden, Asia will present a whole host of new challenges and opportunities for the next US president. Thank you all so much for watching this video till the end. Your support means so much to us. We hope you liked it, and if you did, give it a like, feel free to share with your friends, and please subscribe. We hope to see you all in our next video.